Front page daily graphic, President can now assent to anti-gay bill. Supreme Court dismisses 2 suits. And Emmanuel Bohoksim reports that President Akufo-Addo can now go ahead to either assent or decline to assent to law the Human and Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, popularly known as the Anti-Gay Bill. This is because the Supreme Court yesterday dismissed 2 suits challenging the constitutionality of the process used by Parliament in passing the bill. President Akufo-Addo had indicated that he will only act on the bill after the Supreme Court had made a determination on the 2 suits. In a unanimous decision yesterday, a 7-member panel of the Supreme Court held that the 2 suits failed to properly invoke the jurisdiction of the court to interpret and enforce the Constitution. It was the view of the court that the bill was still in the process of being enacted into law, and therefore it was premature for its constitutionality or otherwise to be determined. We come to the unanimous decision that the plaintiff's writ does not properly invoke the exclusive jurisdiction of this court. We are of the view that the subject of the litigation, being a bill still undergoing the process of becoming law in accordance with the provisions set out by the Constitution, it will be premature for this court to exercise its interpretative and enforcement jurisdiction to intervene. Consequently, the action fails and it is accordingly dismissed, the court held. The court said the full reasoning for its decision will be ready by tomorrow, December 20, 2024. And a 7-member panel was presided over by Justice Avril Lovelace Johnson, with Justices Professor Henrietta Mensah-Ponsu, Barbara Kayensu, Samuel Kwame Adibu Asiedu, and Jehu Yada Kwasara and Richard J. Frimpong as members. And it took the Supreme Court how long? And all controversies to make this determination.
Anyway, that's a multi-million patient.
Maybe the caseload.
Caseload. Well, I saw something that for justice delivery I found very remarkable and something quite worthy of emulating. When in a single day, the Attorney General could go to the Supreme Court, get a court to put together a panel and to adjudicate on a matter. In under 12 hours. And I thought that was remarkable.
They were looking for what majority only got.
I mean, justice delivery. I mean, that's how it ought to be. I mean, I for the life of me, I didn't know that the Supreme Court
possible.
Yes, I didn't know it was possible, but they showed that it is possible.
A lot of things are possible. But this I mean, I think we haven't seen the reasons yet. I think the reasons will come up later.
Well, at least they tell us that
it's premature.
The subject of the litigation being a bill still undergoing the process of becoming law. And you see, one of the plaintiffs, the lady, she had earlier on, at the time of reading, second reading or something,
I think she
went to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said that no, you can't. Yeah. And the same person went again, and then you have Richie Sky's suit. And I thought that, but the precedents that the Supreme Court has said during the reading
they would just dismiss it.
Yeah, it was black and white, unless the Supreme Court had any reason to depart from its earlier position on that matter.
I think Richie's case, it's been a while since I read it, I think has some peculiarities a little slightly different from the lady's, lady's case.
That's true.
You see, so for me, my view is that, of course, we all defer to the Supreme Court on matters of Constitution and its interpretation. So there isn't any argument there based on what their ruling is on the matter. But I think that it would be interesting to read the reasons. But the primary one is that, yes, there's no proper case before them because the bill is not a law, and at that point it will be, if you like, they will be speculating or probably hypothesizing in trying to rule in advance of the bill becoming a law. So for me, it settles the matter, but I want to really see the reasoning and maybe justifications. Maybe they'll be referencing some precedents in the matter or some invoking some other jurisdictions, things that have happened there to try to explain why they are dismissing this. And it's necessary because then it settles the issue. No other person can bring this back to the Supreme Court when they have done an elaborate work of showing why like an act that is not officially passed into law to be ruled upon as though that it has an effect of law. So let's see what the opportunities available to the plaintiff arrive, having seen the reasons what steps he would take. But I'm quite interested in seeing what a justification would be for the ruling, even though we are clear based on their preliminary comment that it is because it is not law, that's a bill, and that cannot constitute a basis for a suit. So we'll see what happens in the next few days. And apparently this then opens the way for Parliament to transmit the bill for the President to sign, I think. And we'll see if that is done or not. I think even before this ruling, I think Speaker was directing that the bill be transmitted to the President. But I guess with this case out of the way, I think we'll see what Parliament will do to this matter.
Well, Randy,
are you transmitting it this morning?
Well, per the Speaker's indication, he had authorized the clerk to transmit the bill to the President earlier when we met before even this week's meeting. And I don't know whether he did or he did not. I must also say that the clerk's office is also going through transitional processes because a new clerk is been appointed.
Mr. Jetro.
Jetro, yeah. And so this one is retiring, and so Jetro will be the one that will handle us through the 9th Parliament till he also goes on retirement. But you see, it was so clear right from the word go that the executive arm and the judiciary were playing games with Ghanaians as far as the consideration of this bill, the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, was concerned. The President announced the going to court even before the suit was filed.
You're going back.
No. But that story must be told when we've reached here, where we have come. I am saying that we must tell that story, that the President, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, announced the pendency of a court action even before the plaintiffs in this case went to court. Again, considering the basis upon which the Supreme Court itself ruled, one was surprised why it took them such a long time to arrive at this decision that even a layman's reading the Constitution will clearly understand that you don't injunct the processes of a bill until it has become law. That was the basic thing that we were all discussing. Should this take so many months? But you see, the Supreme Court, that's why I said the Supreme Court played into the political atmosphere. We don't want to sign it because there is some big boy out there holding a cane over us. If we sign it, it will affect us. If we don't sign it, it will affect us. So let's play into the hands of Supreme Court. Supreme Court 8. Let's see what will happen at the elections. Well, they did that. But the good people of Ghana interpreted and understood their actions and voted, also factoring all these things. Because this was a danger to society. The President's own interview that he did was what really drew attention of Ghanaians to begin to pursue this bill. When he said that he was a young person who grew up in UK and that the freedoms that the interviewer was talking about did not exist when he was even growing up. It was out of pressure from civil society and the rest that today UK have liberalized and have allowed all those things to happen. So he was asked, so what happened in Ghana? They said, well, if the same momentum of pressure is brought to bear, then government will subdue not long after that, we saw offices being opened to promote LGBTQ activities, things that were being done hidden. Now they wanted to start promoting it.
But can I ask you a question?
Well, what question do you want to ask you?
So the principle the president talked about, is that a false principle?
Yes.
Is that, look, when you go
It's,
to when you go all across? That's how they attained all the major legislation that is allowed for rights. The universal adult suffrage, it is through these processes. So society evolved through advocacy. And so that principle the president speaks is not false.
If we've had maybe various CDS try as much as possible to cover some possible existing inefficiencies in our security, that lack of appropriate resources have affected us, then all of a sudden you have another CDS camp who begins to address publicly those deficiencies and giving indication to those who want to attack us to know that this is the area of weakness. I should be worried.
No, it's not.
That was what the president did. The president sought to open up that the only way government will respond to was when pressure is brought to bear. So what you needed to do, well, allow me to do my own analysis. What we needed to do was to preempt and stop this pressure from coming, because we've realized that, hey, it means that one day we can have a president who will decide under pressure to legislate and allow these things to be done. Now we take this bill through a private member's motion, taking it through all the processes, is to be transmitted to the president. Then the president says, oh no, there's a court case, so don't transmit. Meanwhile, that is not part of the considerations. All the president needed to do was to have either referred the bill when he receives it to Council of State and say, well, Council of State, a court action has been initiated, but this is a bill that I need to sign. Advise me. Their advice could then be added and returned to us. And if we repass it by 2/3, the president now is forced to sign it. The president wanted to avoid all these things. So he decided that he won't receive it at all.